is Amara Karan. Sitting next to her is Mr. Jason Schwartzman, Adrien Brody, Coppola, and the gentleman next to me is the director of the film, Wes Anderson. I'm going to start with a film history question and talk about The River by Jean Renoir, which I know was a real inspiration.
Yes. I'm a great fan of Jean Renoir's movies, but I'd never seen The River, a movie that I'd heard about for many years. And in fact, I managed to see it because Martin Scorsese had gotten a print of it, and he thought I would like it. When he showed it to me, it was sort of the culmination of something that I had been that had been brewing in my mind. I had been thinking a lot about Satyajit Ray's films, which I love, and I've been watching for many years. And also I had watched Louis Malle's documentaries about India, Phantom India and Calcutta. And then I saw The River, and I suddenly realized I want to go there, and I want to make a movie there. And then when we were writing, Roman and Jason and I, we were traveling in India, and I think the last night of our first trip to India together, we watched The River in a hotel room in Delhi, and that was sort of part of what kind of got us going on this movie.
And then did you screen it for the cast?
No, I didn't do that.
All right. You settled that.
Speak to how the short sort of evolved along with the feature, and what the process and how the two sort of came to be together.
How did the short Hotel Chevalier evolve along with the feature?
Yes. Well, we made the short a year before the feature. I had written the short, and I had a few pages, the very beginning of the feature, and I went to Jason and Roman and asked them if they would if they wanted to join me in writing the movie. And but it was only as we got closer to actually, I decided, I told Jason I wanted to do it. He said he'd do it, and we got a hold of Natalie Portman, and she said that she'd do it, and I thought I'd just pay for it myself, and I'd just do it right away, the short, once that was done. Before it came time to shoot it, we had already kind of realized that Jason's character was the same character that he would be playing in the movie. It wasn't preconceived exactly, but we sort of figured that out. And then we started sort of interconnecting them more and more. And in the end, our approach with the movie is we wanted the movie to be very personal. We tried to just use for any time we had a question, what happens next? We just tried to ask each other, well, what has happened to you that could relate to this? And somehow that was our theory of how we were going to approach the movie. And we also sort of had a thought that we didn't want to say too much. We wanted the movie to be spare in a way, and any place where we could omit the information and you could still follow the story, we tried to. We have lots and lots of information about these characters, scenes that we wrote that explain a lot, and we consistently made the decision to not reveal that information, and it was just part of our approach to the film. And as a result of that, the short, there's stuff you get in the short that you don't get in the movie, and you need to see the short really to get the whole picture. I know I've given a very long answer to this question, but it really was. It was a bit of a puzzle because it's not a commercial idea to make a short that you ought to see before the movie, but we don't want to show it right before it necessarily, and then a feature, but you won't really fully understand the feature if you haven't seen the short. And it took me a long time to figure out how do I want to do this, because I felt like I don't always want to show the short first. In the end, we have the short on iTunes now, so people who are interested can see that before they see the movie, after they see the movie. At a certain point, we're going to add the short back in with the movie, and it'll be on the DVD, and I sort of like the idea that different people can see it in different ways, and they're linked together, but they stand on their own as well.
Roman and Jason, I'm just wondering if you could jump in and talk about
Yes, thank you, Roman. Well, I would like to talk about it first as an actor. It's been 9 years since I've worked with Wes, though we've remained great friends. To go back to working with him, I was very excited about it, but I couldn't help be so very nervous about it. So to have the opportunity to go and make a short film with Wes after this time was the most gentle and kind of wonderful way to reunite with someone professionally. It wasn't so scary as to walk onto a film set with many people and much more going on. It was nice to have Natalie, Wes, and I in a very small crew for 2 days in Paris. That was a nice way to get your feet wet, I suppose, and with the character, that was really nice for me to be able to do, to test out the character and to kind of give it like just to test him out. And it helped so much when I went to India, because that is where my character is coming from, this moment with Natalie's character, and his head is a little bit unhinged. And so it was nice for me to actually have a real moment to experience that I could remember as well as imagine when I was working on the movie. So for me, doing Hotel Chevalier was so helpful and so necessary, and I wish that I could do it like for every movie. I recommend all directors do with their actors. Do a couple short movies, test out the character, and then go back to it, because it was great. And now Roman will talk about.
Yeah, I guess my take on the experience was that I got this invitation from Wes and Jason to have this adventure, and Wes started off by giving us a few clues, saying that it takes place in India. There are 3 brothers on this adventure, and he read the opening pages, which was very similar to what we see in the movie of the Bill Murray character chasing after the train, and the Peter character running and actually getting on the train, and that's where it ended. It was like, okay, let's get going the rest of the movie, and I felt at that moment, oh yeah, I know what this movie is. This is the 3 brothers in India, the train, and I totally got it, understood, and was excited to be part of this adventure. And the adventure continued through the writing and all the steps and sessions and process, which ended up when we went to India, did a research trip, which became a casting session and location scouting trip, which led right into the shooting, which led into the editing, led into the sound, and now we're here describing it. So the whole thing's just been a whole process of adventure and discovery, which reflects the spirit of the theme